Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? Mr. DDG94 back with another reaction video. Today we finna react to the WWE Royal Rumble 2012 was mid. I think this was the 40 man Rumble, right? Ain't this the one that Alberto Del Rio won? The 40 man Royal Rumble? Yeah. Fuck this Royal Rumble shit. 2 packs of ass.
Hear me and hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
Yeah, this shit was hot garbage. But anyway, so without further ado, let's get right into it.
One of the most anticipated WrestleManias on the horizon. A record-breaking, earth-shattering WrestleMania that was going to be one for the ages. I sound like I'm shilling, but it was kind of just that, to be honest. The hype of The Rock and John Cena alone is to sell this as one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time, and for good reason. 2 of the greats from their respective generation clashing for the first time ever. That hype wasn't the same for the Royal Rumble, though. The show didn't have that exciting feeling of being one to set up all the big matches at WrestleMania. So to set the stage, WWE wasn't exactly in a new era, but it felt very different compared to previous years, with new talent rising up the ranks and being positioned as some of the top talent. WWE in early 2011 to the end was much different, something that felt like a far cry to what the end of 2011 would be. And I'm not trying to say the later part of 2011 was amazing, but I just want to establish that you might as well call them 2 different years. 2012 seemed to follow the trend set by WWE in the second half of 2011, and it was more about riding a wave instead of establishing a new era. With that said, Royal Rumble 2012 was held in the Scott Trade Center in St. Louis, Missouri on January 29, 2012. 18,121 were in attendance to witness the Rumble match, and the buy rate was 443,000. It was slightly down to the 476,000 of Royal Rumble 2011, but then again, that was promoted as the biggest Royal Rumble of all time. 40 men instead of the regular 30. With that,
okay, I got the years mixed up. I thought this was the 40 man Royal Rumble. No, so this is basic. This is a basic Royal Rumble. Okay. So this would be the year, I believe, Sheamus won, right? Yeah, this would be the year Sheamus won it, if I'm not mistaken. Sheamus won 2012. Okay. Because I remember the 40 man one, but I think that was Alberto Del Rio. Then the 40, then the next year one, that was, yeah. So this would be the one Sheamus won, because the year after that John Cena won. And then the year after that, Batista won. And the year after that, Roman Reigns won. And the year after that, Triple H won. I forgot who won 2011. Like I said, I wasn't watching WWE right at the time, so I forgot.
that said, let's get into it. Okay, the first match in the show is for the World Heavyweight Championship. Daniel Bryan defended the gold against the Big Show and Mark Henry in a steel cage match. The fact that this was a triple threat cage match makes it strange because we don't see it often, but for storyline purposes, it was very logical. Ever since Daniel Bryan captured the title, he became more cowardly and always found a way to keep his title. The methods got stranger with every week, and this was to ensure he has an actual result to his title match. Daniel Bryan was presented as an overachiever who was out of his depth when it came to the giants of the WWE. This was the end of the dominant Hall of Pain run for Mark Henry. He wasn't booked as strong as previously. As to the Big Show, he was always a major challenger, but often seen as a transitional challenger. Alright, let's get into it. Let's talk about the match. Bryan quickly went for the run, but the two big guys had their way with him. Big Show was the one with the advantage early on. He had a strong hold on the match and used the cage well. The Big Show took control of the match, and it got to the point where Daniel...
I think Mark Henry was injured around this time. That's why they had to end his run, because he had got injured. I think he fucked his knee up real bad, and he was just like, fuck it, let's just get it over with. He kept going though. I'll give him his props. He kept going, but I think he had a bad knee.
Daniel Bryan had to target his knees. He knew what both men were capable of and finally used that in-ring intelligence he's known for. Henry was shut and closed that door like the ref wouldn't have listened if he even whispered it. He had a moment with Bryan and it was back to the Big Show. Big Show is the heart of this match and someone who had the most moments in this one. But if we put this match simply, it's the two guys giving the champion a beating and him constantly finding a cheap way to escape with the title. Big Show KO'd Henry and had the title win, but Bryan quickly broke the fall and ran out of there. Big Show was trying his best to drag him in, but the champion used the top of the cage to his advantage and fell down to retain the title. Decent match, it doesn't overstay its welcome and just does the job to establish Bryan as a fluke champion once again. There's really not much to say about it because what I watched was a basic cage match with the story centered around Daniel Bryan being a chicken and someone who will stop at nothing to keep his title. When I mean stop at nothing, I don't mean sadistic, I just mean find the cheapest ways to win. This was one of the first times that Bryan did the yes thing, it added more to his character, and that would continue to develop over the next few weeks. But his heel turn in general, it was a good kind of slow burn, you know, he didn't have a specific moment where he turned heel, he just slowly morphed into one. There was this video package playing of John Cena and his challenges and experiences in the lead up to WrestleMania, and they played Invincible by MGK. There's a great promo which reminds me how much WWE started to acknowledge the boos for Cena. They did it in the previous years, but never as open as it was during this time period. It was like, John Cena, we're not gonna turn him heel, but you might as well call him a heel if you hate him. It's very
They were gonna turn him heel, but they pussyfooted out of it. They chickened out. Vince chickened out because Cena merchandise was too. He didn't want to fuck that merchandise up. He was too greedy. Vince was too greedy to not change John Cena's character. Just for a little bit, bro. Just a heel turn for about 6 months would have been good, bro. Like, just something new, dog. Oh, Vince was greedy, man. He chickened out because he was like, I don't want to fuck up those sales. John Cena's our top seller. We can't mess that up. He's got the kids. What are we gonna do? We don't have nobody else that can get the kids going. Oh, CM Punk? He's not. No, he's not that guy. Like, I think that's why they was trying to hype up Zack Ryder, but Zack Ryder wasn't working out. Because if Zack Ryder would have worked out and Zack Ryder would have got the boom that they was hoping for, I think that would have helped. I think that would have convinced. That would have pushed Cena's heel turn going forward. Because that's why they put him next to Cena. They was trying to see, like, okay, they fuck with him on the internet. Do they fuck with him really though? And I mean, they was fucking with him, but he wasn't pulling over with the younger demographic, the kids. He wasn't pulling over with them, so they was like, we gotta stick with Cena. I already know what it is. I know exactly what it was. I see this shit for what it is, man. I keep telling y'all, man. I'm not. I may not be the smartest motherfucker, but I ain't the dumbest. But I know bullshit when I see it, bro. I see the bullshit from a mile away. I know what's going on.
nostalgic and reminds me of how much I thought the Cena and Rock meant. It felt like the biggest match in wrestling history to me, and it did end up being one of the biggest matches in WWE history. Funny enough, Cena and Rock brought a number to WWE that was unprecedented. It was almost matched by WrestleMania 17 and of course WrestleMania 29. Alright, with that said, the next match was an 8 Divas tag team match. Beth Phoenix, Natalya, and the Bella Twins teamed up to face Kelly Kelly, Eve, Alicia Fox, and Tamina. Of course they pair them in these matches. This reminds me of that time period where every Raw episode had some pointless Diva tag team match that accomplished nothing. It's just like, here, just take your 3 minutes here. Let's talk about this. Okay. Natalya and Tamina started things off. Eve doesn't do much here, and at least the champion coming in. Beth Phoenix was basically the final boss of the Divas division at the time. I want to mention that. Comeback sequence doesn't work, and Brie Bella came in. Alicia with the tag. She has the fire, and the crowd was pretty quiet here. Brie puts out the fire and wears her down. Kelly had the best reaction when she came in and overwhelmed Brie, and the match gets chaotic, and there's the big spot of the match. I hate these spots nowadays. Back then, though, it was different. Beth Phoenix got the tag, and it led to the Glam Slam 1, 2, 3. Dull match. You are gonna see much in a Divas match unless it was a singles match for that title, and even then there wasn't much because apparently there was a lot of moves the woman couldn't do. On the other side, if no one cares about the action, it means they're not invested in the characters as well.
It's a bathroom
You might as
break.
well have done Alicia Fox versus Beth Phoenix for the Divas championship here. It's just the Divas division in general at the time was in this weird era where
You could. This is the bathroom break match, bro. This is where everybody go to the bathrooms, where everybody go to the concession stands. They fill up on that. They get some more food. They get some more nachos, some more burgers, some more goddamn pretzels and shit like that. That's what you go do when you see a Divas match back then. Around this time frame, this was bathroom break time.
where it's like, we want to push Kelly Kelly, but we don't really think she's the right person to push. It was an odd time period, especially after Michelle McCool left, because she was kind of like a leader of the Divas division. So they relied a lot on Beth Phoenix being like the main villain, but there wasn't a hero to topple her. John Laurinaitis met up with Zack Ryder for a moment. This is a flashback. What did Zack Ryder do to them? They made him look like a weak clown throughout the storyline, and that itself is strange. The next match was between John Cena and Kane. So John Cena had one more challenge ahead of his clash at WrestleMania. Kane. The Big Red Machine made his return a month earlier with the mask, but not as an enemy of Cena's, rather as a vessel for him to finally embrace the hate. Kane's goal is to extract all the good intentions Cena had and replace them with hate, a word that Cena constantly avoids and wears proudly as a t-shirt. I don't like the fact that this feud happened. Cena and Kane never feuded before, but it's unfortunate because Kane had just returned with the mask. There was also going to be some strange dynamics between them. Cena quickly went on the attack. All it took was an elbow for Kane to take control. The fans were really into this match, and John Cena's intensity was helping him a bit here, but it was clearly taking a toll on him because for Kane, it was very simple for him to be dominant. He couldn't lift Kane for the AA, and this allowed for the Big Red Machine to easily overwhelm him. He isolated Cena and had him under his thumb. Cena's problem was that he couldn't string together moves consistently, and there was this moment where he locked the crossface, but it wasn't much. It wasn't the STFU, of course, I just want to mention that. This match was weird because it felt like they had the tools to have a much better battle, but it was hidden inside a dry and basic match. Cena had a lot of moments where it looked like he figured it out, but time after time, Kane would stop him. 5-knuckle shuffle from the top, and Kane didn't even give him a moment to think he had the AA because he countered it. Then the double countout happened. Of course it's a cheap finish. They brawled on the outside, and just when I forgot about Zack Ryder, there he was. Then it got worse with the acting from Eve, and I was crying too because of how horrible this was. The real person that should be in tears here is Zack Ryder. Cena couldn't stop him and took a chokeslam. Now, that match wasn't good. I think Cena's intensity was great here, but because Kane didn't match it, it didn't sell the feud as well. Because Kane just felt like a douche who wanted to overpower Cena instead of being someone that wanted to eradicate him. The worst part in it all is that just when it's getting better, the double countout finish happened. Remember BS Star? Stop the bullying, even when we got the biggest bully in the industry under us. The Rock's video package highlighted his experiences and the fact that he loves Twitter. They played Wild Ones by Florida, one of the biggest hits of 2012. And I actually forgot how much Rock lived for Twitter at the time. This guy was spending a lot of time creating the perfect PR tweet here. Future wrestling fan Vanessa Hudgens, Rock's family gave a lot of praise to his work ethic and his efforts to maintain and respect his heritage and culture. And again, we have to mention this. I know it sounds like I'm shilling, but it's pure facts. WWE was doing everything they could to make this the biggest match in wrestling history. The next match was between Drew McIntyre and Brodus Clay. If Drew wins, he enters the Royal Rumble. This was the darkest time in Drew's WWE career. He wasn't even 3MB Drew here. He's constantly complaining. He has an overpaid contract and storyline. And the most random thing I remember about Drew from this time is the fact that they gave this living, breathing jobber an 84 overall in WWE 13. Brodus Clay had a very strange gimmick change because WWE made it a running gag to promote his debut every week. He was positioned as a monster even the day he returned, but then his music played and we saw this guy wearing a colorful singlet. Drew did that jobber offense, which you guys are familiar with. No one ever wins matches if they started off like this. He was doing everything he could, and all Brodus did is tackle him and drop him with a slam before splashing him and hitting the what the funk for the win. Poor guy. The next match is the WWE Championship. CM Punk defended the gold against Dolph Ziggler with John Laurinaitis as a special referee. The Royal Rumble is often used as an opportunity to test certain talent. We've seen this with the likes of Razor Ramon, Mark Henry, Jeff Hardy, but this one though is different because the story is centered around CM Punk and John Laurinaitis. Punk pushing his buttons to the point where he was showing signs of being a tyrant was the story here. With that said, Laurinaitis preferred to allow a WWE referee to officiate this one because he was under fire due to his recent actions as the Raw general manager. Dolph Ziggler posed as a simple challenge for CM Punk, someone that was very easy to work with and a man that will make you look like $1 million, which is something I believe worked to his detriment, seeing as it's a situation where why would we make him look good when he does a way better job of making others look good? There's other factors in there, but I wouldn't be shocked if that played a part, even if it was 10%. Laurinaitis was trying to get brownie points, so he ejected Vicky Guerrero. Punk goes for the quick roll-up early on, and they get in some chain wrestling after a sequence involving their finishers. Punk had the edge here though. Dolph Ziggler pulled him off the top rope, and Booker T complained about his inexperience. Punk wasn't letting those type of moments slide even if Ziggler was to kick out. High knee in the corner leading to the Bulldog, and he's ready for the GTS. That doesn't happen, and both men started countering a lot of their moves. Then the ref got knocked down, and this led to Laurinaitis getting involved. He checked on the ref when CM Punk had the match won with the Anaconda Vice. He had him with the roll-up, and at this point the champion was convinced that Johnny Ace was doing his best to sabotage him under the guise of being a thoughtful person. Punk dropped Ziggler with the GTS while also getting one over the Raw GM, and again, he had him beat. The second GTS was countered into the Famouser, but it wasn't enough for the victory. The challenger messed up, leading to the catapult, and the GTS 1, 2, 3. There it is. Laurinaitis even wanted to make himself seem like a fair and impartial official. As for this match, it had a couple of distractions that prevented it from being much better. It was almost good, and if you want to see an actual good match from these two, they had a great, not good, but great match on Raw 2 months earlier. You might like it as much as I did, but that comes from personal preference. That match was a battle, and it felt like it took a lot out of both men. Whereas here, it was more of a match where CM Punk was dealing with the odds stacked against him. It wasn't a matter of him struggling with Dolph Ziggler, it was him struggling with John Laurinaitis potentially being an unfair official. So there it is. And the main event, the 30-man Royal Rumble. For the first time ever, anybody could enter, even if you had a title match earlier that night. This Rumble didn't have a lot of hype to it. The Rumbles that had a lot of hype in recent years were definitely 2010 and 2011. That's because they were very star-studded. This one though, not so much. They didn't have a lot of stars, especially after Batista, HBK, Undertaker disappeared. But let's talk about it. The Miz started off at number 1 and he cut this promo about being the last man standing. Alex Riley entered at number 2 and at this point there was not a push in his career. The most over thing about him here was his theme song. They had bad on this regular stuff. I mean, what else do you expect? It's a Royal Rumble match. The Miz almost got thrown out, but then Alex Riley forgot he's got no push and ended up messing up here for the elimination. That sounded better when I wrote it. It just doesn't sound good here. The Miz at number 1 was very strange. He doesn't seem like someone to start off the Rumble. R-Truth was the third entrant and he was in midst of feud with Miz at the time. He overwhelmed him, and looking back, it's unfortunate how they blamed these two for the Survivor Series buy rate, as if they had a claim to the show. Like WWE was supposed to depend on them to drive home the fact that Survivor Series was huge because of these two. It's nonsense. They just wanted a scapegoat. Cody Rhodes entered next. The heels double team Truth. Justin Gabriel's next. Is this the WWE 13-man menu music wrestlers? They got half of them out there. Gabriel had a lot of offense here initially, but struggled to adapt with his high flying skills. Primo's next. I think a big problem with this Rumble is the star power. It's like saying the sky is blue. There's reasons for that, of course, but only makes this Rumble look bad. Like, we know there's reasons why the Rumble doesn't have a lot of stars, but it's not good. Miz managed to eliminate Truth, who responded by dropping him on the outside. Miz wasn't eliminated though, of course. Number 7 ended up being Mick Foley. Foley is much slower than usual, but this is a Rumble, so it doesn't matter. He threw out Primo when Foley made his mark on the competitors, and just when you think the first major current star is here, it wasn't even Alberto Del Rio because it was Ricardo Rodriguez. The car was banging even though they were trying their best to make it seem bad. It looked nice. The faces allowed for him to shine, but then it was time to go. Even then, he managed to throw out Gabriel with the help of Mick Foley. Once Santino came out, he showed just how out of depth Ricardo was. He even did one of those cartoon wedgies to throw him out. Then the battle of 2012 happened. The unstoppable force meets the immovable object. Unfortunately, Epico was the victim of both men before the clash went down. The heels ruined it and Rhodes threw out Santino. He made things worse by following up on Foley. Kofi upped the intensity here after he entered at number 12 and gave the fans something entirely different. Cody Rhodes was always ruining the vibes here, and from out of nowhere, the King entered the match. He had a lot of momentum, but again, Cody Rhodes crashed the party. Michael Cole was constantly talking about him trying to steal a spot from an actual wrestler, all while Ezekiel Jackson entered the match. Jinder Mahal was next. This match was really lacking in the star power, but I don't need to say it. Great Khali returned here going after his brother-in-law Jinder Mahal, and he dropped everyone in sight with
God damn, it's jobber galore right now. Jesus Christ.
the chops and even threw out Mahal. Jackson tried his best to challenge him but failed. Unico's number 16, and at this point you have to ask, why didn't WWE just bring in one main eventer during this part of the match? Are none of them willing to put in the work for this part of the match? I doubt it. Booker T was number 17 to the shock of Michael Cole. Miz seemed to throw out Kofi Kingston, who decided to make the most out of the situation. This is a great spot. It was a sequel to John Morrison's 2011 one, which is by far the very best Royal Rumble elimination spot because of the fact that it was a first. It was unexpected. Dolph Ziggler came out next and quickly went after Kofi Kingston. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was a surprise entrant in the match, and this man looked stronger than half the roster. They couldn't stop him. I don't even need to say who ruined all of this. I haven't hated someone in a match like this in a while. This guy was annoying as hell, and he made it worse by throwing out both Khali and Booker. Michael Cole, for all this talk, didn't have much to say when he entered the match. It was at the worst time because Karma returned. Awesome Kong wasn't really involved with any storylines at this point, but it seemed like she was going to be integrated into the show, seeing as they made a big deal out of her debut months earlier. She dominated here, and I love this moment where Booker and Lawler showed just how much they disliked Cole. They just pulled him down like, bro. I think Camacho was supposed to catch Unico here, but couldn't get there on time. Definitely something Tangaloa would do. And then Ziggler threw her out. Sheamus entered, and we finally got to see a main eventer, a top talent that would make the fans give a damn about this match. Not to say that the others were boring, but they didn't feel like threats in the match. He overwhelmed the heels and punished them. Road Dogg returned to the ring for the first time in 11 years and gave the fans some of that old Attitude Era offense. Jey Uso came out to the reaction of nobody, which is funny, but shows you how long it took the Usos to get over with the fans. Jack Swagger was next. He was a powerhouse and dropped everyone in sight. Wade Barrett was next. He had a new theme song. Barrett eliminated Road Dogg easily. David Otunga comes out. Randy Orton enters finally. He came in with all the momentum in his hometown, and the fans were fully invested. Orton was untouchable. He threw out Jey Uso, RKO'd Barrett, and eliminated him just in time for number 29. Chris Jericho. This reminds me, Jericho coming out with that jacket was too cool for me. Like at the time, when I was younger, I really loved the jacket. Y2J eliminated David Otunga and had a very determined look on his face. And at this point, there was only one entrant left. Number 30. Number 30 was the Big Show, and that crowd looked so let down because they saw Big Show once earlier in the night. And number 30 isn't exactly supposed to be reserved for someone like the Big Show. He pulled out Swagger and KO'd him. Then the two most annoying heels went out like that, fouled by Ziggler, and it was down to 4 men. The worst part is that these 4 men were the ones that the fans gave a damn about the most, not to mention were the only 4 with an actual chance at winning this. Let's put it simply. Overwhelming Giant looks so untouchable, but in a drop of a hat, he's jumped and thrown out. Jericho though took advantage of Orton to let the fans down and make it a final clash with Sheamus. I don't think it's a good thing to say, but this was by far the very best part of the match. They had a mini match with a lot of near eliminations, and the best was the springboard dropkick with Jericho looking like he had it. Chris Jericho locked in the walls and seemed to do enough damage, but even then Sheamus almost had him.
Bro, we all wanted Jericho to win. Jericho made the most sense, right? We all wanted Jericho to win. Considering the fact that I think he still went on to face CM Punk for the WWE Championship. Like, you could have just let him win here.
At one point, Chris Jericho thought there was pinfalls and he was selling well here. Like, it's just one thing to mention. Jericho did a great job of making it seem like he was about to get eliminated. Then to top it all off, Sheamus dropped Y2J with the bro kick to win the Royal Rumble. Great ending. That elimination was so damn cool, it highlights just how much of a threat Sheamus' bro kick was. It wasn't a surprising result, but if you asked most people...
Wait, what happened to The Miz? I thought The Miz tried to sneak him at the end and failed miserably.
They would have thought it was going to be Chris Jericho. It was too obvious, which of course doesn't stop WWE from doing it with others, but that was the reason he didn't win here. I say Y2J deserves it, but I understand why they chose Sheamus. That guy hadn't lost a match since September and had been positioned as a very top guy for months. But if you didn't like Sheamus' win, this could have gone down differently. And again, these are rumors, but one is so crazy I have to mention it. Figure 4 Wrestling reported in January 2012, and I quote, "One of the ideas WWE officials were discussing for the Royal Rumble would have seen John Cena win the Royal Rumble and earn a title shot at WrestleMania 28. Cena would then be forced to choose between his match with The Rock and challenging either the WWE or World Heavyweight Champion. This idea was nixed and Cena was not part of the Rumble match. Several scenarios were planned out for Randy Orton to win in his hometown of St. Louis. I do think Randy Orton does have a claim for this one, and if you're wondering why, Orton was a perennial main eventer. He was a super main eventer at this point, and it would not be out of the realm to see him challenge Daniel Bryan, someone he's never faced, for the title. But that Royal Rumble is not the best. This Royal Rumble's problem is the fact that it had a lot of comedy spots, not to mention the lack of star power. They just couldn't get over it. I don't know why they didn't spread a couple of the guys throughout the match. Like, Jericho could have been in there a bit earlier. I get why the Big Show wasn't. He could have been the last guy, obviously, as he was. This Rumble was not laid out well, not to mention they didn't have a lot of star power. The best part of the match was the finale. The finale, if you watched it without knowledge of the previous parts of the match, you'd think this was one of the better Royal Rumble matches. It just felt like that. But yeah, I didn't really like it that much. It wasn't boring, but it lacked a lot of star power. It's like every time an entry came out, the fans didn't really care about them. Then when Sheamus came out, they started to give a damn, followed by Chris Jericho, Randy Orton. Like, once Sheamus came out, that all changed. Alright, that's the Royal Rumble. This event was not that good. It passed by quick though because it's a Royal Rumble event. Match of the night, I'm gonna go with the Royal Rumble. I didn't really like it that much, but it's the Royal Rumble, so there's that. The CM Punk and Dolph Ziggler match, I think was better bell to bell, but it's a bit disappointing and had a lot of drama surrounding it, which is understandable because that's half the story. It wasn't like John Laurinaitis randomly came out without any knowledge from the fans. Everyone knew he was gonna be an influence on the match. Other than that, if you want to watch this, just watch it because you're nostalgic for the WWE 13 era. If you just want to watch it as an event, there's not much in it. It's like 5 out of 10, I'd say. I wouldn't even say disappointing. It was just dull. So yeah. Alright, what you guys think of the Royal Rumble? Please comment down below. And that's your first video. Make sure you hit the GTS on the like button, perhaps a bro kick on the subscribe button.
Alrighty, that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I don't remember this Royal. I don't think I remember was Sheamus winning. John Cena faced Kane, and Daniel Bryan was World Heavyweight Champion. That's really all I remember from this time frame. But anyway, so that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. They should have let Jericho win, and if not Jericho, they should have let Randy win. Like I understand that they've been building Sheamus up properly, but at the same time, you got Orton, you got Jericho, you had literally this whole Royal Rumble was literally all jobbers, complete fucking jobbers. I mean, like, if you was on a losing streak, this was your time to shine. Like, nigga, what the fuck? It was jobber after jobber after jobber after jobber. It's like, Jesus Christ. Catering was empty that night, boy. But anyway, so that's just go about do it for this one, man. I will see you on the next video. Till then, peace out.